It is literally 36 degrees outside.
Greetings, welcome to Facts About Everything. I'm your host, James Egan. Today, sorry. Cameo dog. Continuity might be a bit spotty in this one. Today we're going to look at the DC superhero, Shazam. We have a lot to cover in this video. I'll be looking at the superhero, the movie, his nemesis, Black Adam, and the film's villain, Savannah. Although a lot of people have never heard of Shazam, there was a time where he was the most popular superhero in the world. He outsold Superman throughout the 1940s. In 1944, Shazam had the best-selling comic, selling 14 million copies. And that is the first of 100 facts about Shazam. Let's dive in. He debuted in Whiz Comics #2 in 1940. Okay, if you know this character, you know what I'm going to say, so let's just get this out of the way to stop it being as confusing as possible. Shazam has only gone by that name in very recent comics. For decades, he was known as Captain Marvel. You see, originally, Captain Marvel was owned by Fawcett Comics. Since Superman was losing sales, DC had an idea. They would sue Fawcett Comics, saying Captain Marvel was too similar to the Man of Steel. As a result, Captain Marvel was discontinued. Since the name Captain Marvel was no longer being used, Marvel Comics trademarked it. Eventually, the Fawcett Comics version of Captain Marvel was integrated into DC Comics, and he allied with the rest of the Justice League. However, now that the Captain Marvel movie is coming out in 2019, this became very confusing. So in recent comics and the movie, the character is called Shazam. His real name is Billy Batson. Billy was an orphan who lived on the streets until he was found by a mysterious stranger. The stranger took Billy to a dark, abandoned underground train station to enter a magic train. If a stranger asks you to do that, don't ever follow him. The train took Billy to the Wizard. The Wizard could see the good in Billy and believed he was worthy of harboring the power of the gods. The Wizard gave Billy the ability to call upon the powers of the gods when he shouts Shazam. When Billy shouts Shazam, a thunderbolt from the sky strikes him, turning him into the superhero Shazam. Although Billy is a short, weedy kid, Shazam looks like a muscular man wearing a red superhero suit and a white cape. By the way, just to make this a little bit less confusing, I'm going to only refer to the superhero as Shazam instead of Captain Marvel. I know he wasn't called Shazam until much later, but it's just less confusing. The name Shazam comes from the gods Solomon, Hercules, Achilles, Zeus, Atlas, and Mercury. When Billy becomes Shazam, he inherits the powers of the Greek gods. Solomon's wisdom, Hercules' strength, Atlas' stamina, Zeus' power, Achilles' courage, and Mercury's speed. If he says Shazam while he is a superhero, he'll revert back to normal. Now, ye millennials may not understand that before the internets, information was what was commonly known as absurdly unreliable. You see, if you were creating a superhero now with the power of 6 Greek gods, you would just type in Greek gods and you find the number. It's a piece of cake. But this was written in 1940. We didn't have Wikipedia around. So it was more like, can you name 6 Greek gods? There's Zeus. Who begins with H? Hercules, I think? Achilles was a god? Yeah, that should be fine. The funny thing is, of these 6 Greek gods, only one of them is actually a Greek god. Solomon isn't a god, he's an Israeli king. Now you might be thinking, okay, Hercules is a god, isn't he? No, he isn't. He's a demigod. Also, he's not Greek. He's a Roman demigod. The Greek demigod is called Heracles. Atlas is a titan, not a god. The gods also emphasize that Atlas lifts the earth, which isn't true. In Greek myth, he lifted the heavens. Zeus is a Greek god. Congratulations, you got one right. Well done, writers. Achilles was the son of a nymph and a mortal. And Mercury is the Roman name for the Greek god Hermes. Shazam is nicknamed the world's mightiest mortal. In his very first comic, he wasn't called Captain Marvel, he was called Captain Thunder. The wizard that gave Shazam his power is simply called the Wizard. Originally, the Wizard was known as Shazam, and the superhero was Captain Marvel. Billy learned that the mysterious stranger that brought him to Shazam was actually Black Adam. Don't worry, I'll be looking at him later. Shazam popularized the phrase, holy moly. I've been talking about Shazam for a while, but I haven't really said what his powers are. Well, as I said, he's considered to be similar to Superman. He can fly, he has super strength, speed, and durability. But the thing is, Shazam is actually more powerful than Superman because his power originates from magic. Superman has 2 primary weaknesses, kryptonite and magic. Anytime Superman and Shazam clash, Shazam usually is the victor. Superman and Shazam fought for the first time in Justice League of America number 137 in 1976. Shazam allowed Superman to have his magical power. The only thing more powerful than Superman is a magical Superman. Right, so as I've explained in this video and my Captain Marvel video, there was 2 Captain Marvels, one in Marvel and one in DC. However, there's another Captain Marvel in the 1966 comic created by MF Enterprises. This superhero has the power to shoot his limbs off his body by shouting, split. When he wants his limbs to return to him, he shouts, Zam. Okay, that's a bit of a red flag there. He shouts, Zam to revert to normal. Billy Batson shouts, Shazam to change into Shazam. Coincidence? Hardly. The MF Captain Marvel has a sidekick called Billy Baxton. Can you at least try to pretend you're not copying DC Comics? And just to prove they weren't even trying to be subtle, MF pitted their superhero against a villain called Doctor Doom. He has the exact same name as the Fantastic Four's nemesis. I'm surprised he's not called Dr. Plagiarism. Unsurprisingly, DC Comics sent a cease and desist letter to MF, and the series was cancelled. It is now so obscure, it doesn't even have a Wikipedia page. In one issue, Shazam fought a villain called Spider-Man. Not that one. This Spider-Man had a web gun that sprayed a gooey substance. He used it to trap people in a web while he committed crimes. He only appeared in one issue. One of Shazam's sidekicks is a walking and talking tiger called Talkie Tawny. Shazam got his own self-titled series in 1941. Shazam is voiced by Rob Lowe in the 2010 animated series Young Justice.
It's not just his age. It's the fact that he lied about it.
I didn't lie. Exactly. I just left out the part about being a kid.
Shazam is voiced by Sean Austin in the 2014 animated film Justice League War.
Hey there, what's up? Shazam. I'm with him.
The first issue of Shazam is one of the most sought-out comics in history. It was recently sold for just under $5 million. The cave that the wizard lives in is known as the Rock of Eternity. In his normal form, Billy Batson is only 5'4". The first villain that Shazam ever faced was Dr. Sivana, who is the main antagonist in the movie. I'll get to him in a bit. The wizard can leave the Rock of Eternity, but only for 24 hours. The wizard is Egyptian. Since the comic was written in the 1940s, he was white. Recently, the character has been rewritten and he is dark-skinned. The wizard is 3,000 years old. The wizard's cavern is surrounded by 7 statues that represent the 7 sins of man: greed, gluttony, sloth, pride, envy, lust, and wrath. Shazam eventually learned that they are not statues, but containers. If they were broken, the sins would be released to break havoc upon the world. Shazam learned this the hard way. He calls evil wielders of magic gropes. He can fly almost as fast as Superman. Every DC superhero has a sidekick just for kids, and Shazam is no different. Shazam shares his power with Hoppy the Marvel Bunny. His first sidekick was Freddie Freeman, who also appears in the movie. Shazam shared his power with Freeman, so he became Captain Marvel Jr. when he shouted Shazam. Freddie Freeman was crippled by Captain Nazi. Luckily, Freeman's power heals when he turned into Captain Marvel Jr. Oh, I just realized. Is he called Captain Marvel Jr. or Shazam Jr.? I'm just going to keep calling him Captain Marvel Jr. To attract a female audience, Shazam was given another sidekick called Mary Marvel. Captain Marvel shared his power with her, just as he did with Captain Marvel Jr. However, this means his own power was only 1/3 of what it was. Mary Marvel's look is based on Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz. Shazam's face is based on the actor Fred McMurray. Elvis loved Captain Marvel Jr. so much that he copied his look, hairstyle, and even wore Captain Marvel-style capes on stage. He even used the Shazam Thunderbolt as his Graceland logo. When DC got wind of this, they decided to make Captain Marvel Jr. a huge Elvis fan. Shazam used to have an amnesia punch. It's exactly what it sounds like. If he is struck by lightning by a super being like Black Lightning, the Electrocutioner, or Black Adam, he'll be forced to turn back into Billy Batson and he'll be left vulnerable. Eventually, Billy Batson became the new wizard and Freddie Freeman was chosen to be the new Shazam. However, Freddie had to prove his mettle to earn the power and needed to track down the 6 Greek gods the wizard's power is derived from. So those 6 gods, Solomon, Hercules, Achilles, Zeus, Atlas, and Mercury, each of them have taken on mortal form on Earth. When Freddie Freeman began his trial, a woman called Zabina attempted to hijack the test because she wanted to become the new Shazam. She started tracking down the Greek gods one by one, attempting to steal their power. Solomon is a female tattooist called Zalman, which is Yiddish for Solomon. She inscribes people with magical tattoos that'll protect them from evil spells. Achilles is an army lieutenant called Alvarez. When Freddie Freeman met Hercules, he was in jail after being convicted of 14 murders. According to Hercules, most of those he murdered weren't people. Atlas is known for holding up the world. I know he doesn't, but just bear with me. In this story, he is plugged into the Earth and monitors everything on Earth simultaneously. He personally must divert every murder, every suicide, every bomb, every natural disaster, and every tragedy every moment of every day. Zeus tells Freddie that he has the magical gift to preemptively stop tragedy. He avoids the biggest disasters by making the tiniest modifications. If he stops his job for a few minutes, the world would collapse into itself. When Atlas was killed, Freddie became Atlas for 3 minutes. He said it was so torturous he thought he was plugged into Earth for months. Apollo became the new Atlas. Apollo is the god of medicine and inspiration. In the modern world, he's a physician. He can naturally tell what's wrong with anyone and can cure almost anything. Mercury tried to live a normal life on Earth with a wife and children. While on Earth, Zeus pretended to be Freddie's guide to become Shazam. He couldn't reveal his true identity until he believed Freddie was the chosen one. Okay, let's look at the antagonist in the film, Sivana. Dr. Thaddeus Bodog Savannah debuted in Wiz Comics number 2 in 1940. As I said, Shazam, or Captain Marvel, was affiliated with Fawcett Comics. Savannah didn't appear in DC Comics until 1972. Although Savannah looks incredibly generic, he's very significant because he's the first recurring mad scientist villain in comics. He usually creates killer robots to battle against Shazam. I know it's not original, but it was the 1940s. He is nicknamed the world's wickedest scientist. His name is a combination of the Hindu god of destruction, Shiva, and the Buddhist term Nirvana, which means extinguish. He wears massive glasses, which makes his eyes appear larger than they are. The artists always draw him like this to signify his perception of the world is imbalanced. In one of Savannah's first appearances, he took his family to the planet Venus and walked around the planet's jungle-like terrain. This comic, you see, was written in the 1940s, which was years before astronomers realized that Venus was a barren wasteland. In fact, many astronomers during the 1940s genuinely believed that Venus was a swamp-like planet. But it isn't. Not even a little bit. On Venus, it rains acid and snows metal. That's literally the most uninhabitable place possible. Now let's look at Shazam's arch-nemesis, Black Adam. Black Adam debuted in Marvel Family Comics number 1 in 1945. You see, the Wizard doesn't just have the power of the Roman gods, he just has the power of gods, and he imbues them with people he believes are worthy. Thousands of years ago, Egypt's gods were considered the most powerful. Since Black Adam is Egyptian, when he was immortal and he found the Wizard, he was blessed with the power of 6 Egyptian gods. Shu's stamina, Hiru's swiftness, Amon's strength, Sehuti's wisdom, Aton's power, and Mehen's courage. Shu is a sky god and the grandfather of Osiris, Seth, Horus, and Isis. Hiru is better known as the sun god Horus. Amon is the ruler of the Egyptian gods. Sehuti is better known as the god of wisdom and time, Thoth. Aton is the god that Pharaoh Akhenaton, Tutankhamun's father, tried to replace all the gods with. Mehen is better known as the lion god, Mihos, and he is the son of Amon and Base. When he was immortal, his name was Teth Adam. Black Adam is also known as Mighty Adam and Black Marvel. The Wizard gave Black Adam his powers because he believed Adam to be a good man. However, the power of the gods corrupted Adam and drove him insane. Black Adam can revert to human form if he says Shazam. However, he never does this because he doesn't like feeling immortal. In the video short Superman Shazam, The Return of Black Adam is voiced by Arnold Vosloo, better known for playing the titular character in the 1999 film The Mummy.
I did not spend 5,000 years traveling across the infinite void of space to be thwarted by some man-child.
Black Adam made himself the ruler of the Middle Eastern country of Kandak. He was born in the capital, Shirut. Because Kandak has many enemies, Adam feels obligated to run the country like a dictator to make his enemies too afraid to attack him. Black Adam genuinely believes he is a good man with noble intentions. In his defense, he has helped millions of impoverished Kandakis. Also, he was a member of the Justice Society for a brief period. The Justice Society predates the Justice League. He doesn't usually stand still. Instead, he floats. He does this to remind himself that he is literally above mortal men. In 2013, IGN's top 100 comic book villains of all time ranked Black Adam at number 16. He was allies with the superhero Hawkman in ancient Egypt. I've already done a video about Hawkman, I'll release it in a couple of weeks, so look out for that in the future. Black Adam can resist telepathy. Even a telepath as powerful as Martian Manhunter, who is so strong, he can telepathically control Superman. To stop Manhunter from entering his mind, Black Adam kept visualizing all the brutal ways he has killed his victims. Manhunter couldn't stand the grotesque imagery and gave up. A Kandaki woman called Adriana Tomaz fell in love with Black Adam, which allowed him to find peace in his heart. As an act of kindness, he gave her the power of the goddess Isis. When he learned that Adriana's brother Amon had been crippled, he gave him the power of the god Osiris. Adam eventually married Isis, and it was the first time he was happy in millennia. However, Adam lost his wife in battle. He was so consumed with rage, he started World War III. So how did they defeat him? Well, he was defeated when Shazam used magic to revert into human form. Now, this shouldn't stop Black Adam, because he can just say Shazam and he'll turn back into his superpowered form. However, Shazam changed the word that Adam needs to say to turn back into Black Adam. According to Shazam, I changed the word into the last thing he will ever say. The word that Adam needs to say to reclaim his power was chocolate egg cream. By complete coincidence, Adam happened to say these words months later and reclaim his power. And let's finish off by looking at the movie Shazam. Digimon Hansal plays the Wizard. This is not the first comic book film Hansal has starred in. He played Korath the Pursuer in Guardian of the Galaxy and Captain Marvel. Ron Cephas Jones was cast as the Wizard, but he had to be replaced due to scheduling conflicts. Mark Strong plays the villain Thaddeus Savannah. This is the 4th comic book character he's played. It is also the 3rd supervillain and the 2nd DC supervillain he has portrayed. Strong has played Merlin in Kingsman, D'Amico in Kick-Ass, and Sinestro in Green Lantern. Black Adam was meant to appear in the film, but the producers decided to repurpose the character for Suicide Squad 2. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson was offered the choice to play Shazam or Black Adam. He left the decision to his fans on Twitter. When Black Adam received the most votes, Johnson accepted the role. Zachary Levi plays Shazam. Dwayne Johnson wanted Armie Hammer to play the role. This is not the first comic book film that Levi has starred in. He played Fandral in Thor: The Dark World and Thor: Ragnarok. The fake title was Franklin. The original title was Billy Batson and the Legend of Shazam. Jackie Dillon Grazer plays Freddie Freeman. He played Eddie in It. Asher Angel plays Billy Batson. He is known for playing Jonah Beck in Andy Mack. One of the first questions in IMDb Frequent Questions is the film connected to Shazam? The answer is no, it is not. Not at all. The producers considered making this film separate to the rest of the DC universe. The filmmaker said that Big and Stranger Things heavily influenced the film's style. The film came out a year early. The tagline is, just say the word. And finally, John Cena was considered for the role of Shazam. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. If there's any other DC superheroes you want me to do a video about, let me know and I'll upload a video as soon as possible. To learn more facts, check out my books on Amazon. They're available on paperback and Kindle. Thanks for watching. See you again.